Meeting number 48 will now come to order. Please stand for the playing of the national anthem. Councilmember Remy, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This afternoon, Council is grateful to have Bishop Dane Clark of Bethel Temple Church to lead us in prayer. Bishop, welcome to Council.
Once again, President Hardin, we thank you for this opportunity to come together. Also, I just want to thank the council members for coming to the South Side a few weeks ago, and that you were there, and we had a great experience, was able to talk to you and got a lot of information. Also, we want to thank you for the Yes in God's Backyard, and also for the 614, beautiful. So, Father, we thank you tonight for this opportunity to come together. Thank you for this great committee, God, that is coming together tonight. We pray, God, that you would anoint them in this moment, God, the agenda that has been established for this moment. We ask that you would grant them the spirit of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. God, that you would give them direction, and everything that they say and do will glorify you in the midst of it. God, bless our city. We declare that you're the God over Columbus. God, and I pray that you continue to anoint this city as it grows. God, I pray that you continue to cause it to prosper, and we'll give you the glory and the honor in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Bishop. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer Green, Remy White, President Hardin. Any person who takes any action to obstruct or interfere with the conduct of tonight's meeting may be charged with disturbing a lawful meeting pursuant to Columbus City Code 2317.12. Any person who enters those areas of city council chambers reserved for city officials or invited guests may be charged with criminal trespass pursuant to Columbus City Code 2311.21.
Can I get a motion to suspend the reading of the journal? Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer Green, Remy White, President Hardin.
Are there any additions or corrections to the journal? Hearing none, the journal is approved. This week's communications received by the city clerk's office are listed on the agenda and will be published in the city bulletin. Are there any other communications to be read into the record?
Not at this time.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We'll go around the dais for updates and resolutions, starting with Councilmember Bangston.
Thank you, Council President. I have a resolution and a couple announcements this evening. First, I have Resolution 022X-2025, and as I read that and give some color, I'm going to ask Haley Allison with Smart Columbus to come up and the Smart Columbus team. Resolution 0222X-2025 is to recognize the week of October 6th through the 10th of 2025 as Digital Inclusion Week here in the city of Columbus. Digital Inclusion Week is an annual nationwide event dedicated to raising awareness about digital equity and the vital importance of inclusion in our increasingly digital world. This year's theme, Community-Driven Digital Futures, recognizes that the most impactful solutions for bridging the digital divide emerge directly from within communities. Here in Franklin County, think about this, 20% of Franklin County households do not have a cable modem, DSL, or fiber internet accounts. 10% of Franklin County households have internet access only through a cellular plan. And also, households with an income below $35,000 account for 25% of households in Franklin County and account for 70% of households without internet. So this is disproportionately affecting our most vulnerable residents and leaving them behind in this next generation. That said, thanks to the incredible work being done by the Connect Us Coalition, housed within Smart Columbus, we are well on our way to closing the digital divide. With us tonight to accept this resolution is our partner in good, Haley Allison, and her team. She is the Director of Operations for Smart Columbus, and with that, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Councilmember Bankston. Members of council and our community here today, we are so honored to accept this resolution to celebrate Digital Inclusion Week here in our community. It's because of support from the City of Columbus that we're here today making this a movement. We've been at this work over the last 5 years, led in large part by Director Orth, who's here with us today, to help our community understand that there is a divide, a gap between those who do and do not have affordable, reliable access to internet devices and digital skills. Over the last several years, we've been working with a coalition of over 60 community partners. Those are nonprofit organizations, our library system, governments, and other organizations that are dedicated to closing this divide. Together this year, we have launched, in large part because of the investment from the City of Columbus, our flagship program called the Digital Skills Hub, in which we will equip 10,000 residents with large screen devices and 10 hours of digital skills training. To date, we've trained over 1,600 residents across 16 partner organizations and 50 locations within the City of Columbus. In addition, this week we are launching our device donation program, where we have a goal of obtaining 2,500 retired devices annually for refurbishment and redistribution out to community members in need. We've launched a public-facing front door through connectcentralohio.com, our website, and this week is our very first week of launching in-neighborhood campaigns. We have billboards, lawn signs, and yard signs in the Linden and Southside neighborhoods to help spread awareness about the digital divide to those who are most disconnected and get them enrolled in programs that will help them not only get connected to the internet, but connected to opportunity. We appreciate the support of the City of Columbus every step of the way and look forward to continuing our work together to close that divide, get those 80,000 households connected to internet and 110,000 households a large screen device that they need to get connected to make their lives better in our ever digital world. We thank you again for your commitment and leadership in creating a more connected and equitable Columbus, Ohio. Thank you.
Thank you again, Allison, for the work that you're doing. Just for a refresher, can you tell us what is that big, ambitious goal, I think, that we set of folks we want to be educated and go through our connector program, and then also devices out on the street?
Yes, so by the end of 2027, we aim to train 10,000 residents with at least 10 hours of foundational digital skills training, paired with a device that they get to take home at the end of their training. So 10,000 trained with devices. In addition to that, another 2,500 devices distributed annually to residents in need in no to low cost ways.
Thank you for that. And just want to reiterate, that's ambitious, but I believe that we have partners that are working throughout the community to help us meet those goals. This is our moment. When we talk about the digital divide, I think there are consequential things that happen through our history, right? When we think about redlining and what that did to an entire generation. We think about unequal access to education, what that did to an entire generation. When we talk about access to the internet and having the right equipment, it is the next divide that will define generations. And so we have to tackle this. To think about the 14th largest city in America has that many households that are not connected. And I truly believe at this point, internet is a basic utility. You will not be able to compete, will not be able to, quite frankly, function in the economy or in our community without it. And so thank you all for the work that you are doing. Again, thank Director Orth and our team here for being a partner alongside you and looking forward to crushing that goal. Any comments or questions from my colleagues before I move for adoption? Seeing none, with that, I move for adoption on Resolution 0222X-2025.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer Green, Remy Weiss, President Harden.
Adopted.
Happy Digital Inclusion Week.
Because it is tighter up here on the dais, I have to go around. I can't squeeze through like some of my smaller colleagues. A couple other announcements, Council President. Just wanted to again thank everyone who donated during the month of September. As you know, September was Sickle Cell Awareness Month, and for the 4th year in a row, our office orchestrated blood drives, both here within the city as well as in the community. And I am proud to say that we collected a total of 145 units of blood. This donation has the potential to help 435 patients. So again, this small type of act can go a long way. So again, thank you to everyone who participated last month. I also want to thank our partners, the American Red Cross. Again, you can continue to give blood outside of September. As you all know, you hear me say it a lot. When it comes to our blood supply, we are the supply chain. And lastly, I want to thank my office as well, in particular, Jonathan Brown, for helping to organize, beat down everyone's doors, and get folks to go donate. So I really appreciate his efforts as well. And then last but not least, Council President, really excited to celebrate and to announce that once again, the City of Columbus has been rated AAA bond rating by all 3 rating agencies. This is where we pause for applause. That is to be commended. It seems like it's a nerdy thing, but it is a very consequential thing for government in particular. We are the largest city of our size to have a AAA bond rating with all 3 rating agencies, and that helps us to continue to borrow and make investments in our community. With that being said, it is a perfect segue that early voting starts tomorrow. You will see 5 issues on the ballot before voters, one asking for $1.9 billion in bonds. This is how we finance things like parks. It is how we finance things like rec centers that are so transformational to our neighborhoods. It's how we make sure that we ensure that we have safe, clean drinking water as we continue to grow. It's how we make big transformative efforts like Link Us that are going to transform how we get around the city. And most importantly, the biggest piece of it all, Council President, is how we are going to finance and build more housing so that everyone, whether you work in the City of Columbus, you have the ability to live in the City of Columbus. And all of that works hand in hand with our AAA bond rating because we're able to borrow those at lower rates, so we're able to do more projects and invest more in our community. So today is the last day to register to vote. If you're not registered, please do that by 9 p.m. today. If you are registered, check your registration, make sure it is updated. Again, early voting starts tomorrow. Election day is November 4th. Polls will be open 6:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. And again, we are imploring you to vote yes on issues 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Those are issues that will determine our future, and our future depends on it. And lastly, on that note, I want to thank and give a huge shout out to Auditor Kilgore and her team, as well as Director Long. I had a chance to sit in on these rating agencies and to see what is all happening in our region and to see how we work together collaboratively to continue to move our city forward is really something to be celebrated. So again, thank you to everyone involved. And again, tomorrow, early vote starts. So make a plan to vote. Whether you vote early or in person, make a plan to vote. And when you do vote, vote yes on issues 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And with that, Council President, that concludes my announcements.
Thank you, sir. Next, Councilmember Rosa de Padilla.
Thank you, Council President. September is Latino Heritage Month. Well, September into October, September 15th to October 15th. And while we are still celebrating, we did close out our Latino Heritage Month events this past weekend with La Feria, or the fair, which was a street fair where we welcomed more than 1,000 residents, more than 50 local artists, everything from visual arts to folkloric dancers to comedians to singers to bands. that took over the area around Blockfort Gallery, and it was a wonderful time had by all from 3 to 10 p.m. on Saturday. So we want to thank everyone who came out. I want to especially thank my team, Jessica Cáceres, Amaris Lemus, and from our community engagement team, Jocelyn Martinez Cortez, for all of their hard work on the festival this weekend. I also want to pause because later on this week, we will recognize Latina Equal Pay Day. While it's not a celebration, it is a reminder of how far Latinas must work into the next year just to match what white non-Latino men earned the year before. In 2025, this day falls on October 8th, marking the point where Latinas will have worked nearly 11 extra months for the same yearly salary earned by our white male counterparts within 12 months in 2024. Latinas are at the heart of our families, our neighborhoods, and our economy. They are teachers, nurses, small business owners, scientists, farm workers, caregivers, and leaders. Yet on average, a Latina earns just 52 cents on the dollar. That difference adds up to more than $1 million in lost wages over our lifetimes. It's like an invisible tax that not just Latinas pay, but all women pay because of the pay gap. And this is money that could go to help pay for a home or send a child to college or build retirement security. My office has been committed to helping to narrow the pay gap. 2 years ago, we passed a salary history ban, preventing potential employers from asking job seekers about their past salary history. And next month, we will introduce pay transparency legislation that will require every job posting in the city of Columbus to post a reasonable salary range. We will hold a public hearing on October 23rd at 3 p.m. right here in Chambers, and we hope to see you all there. Please follow our social media for more information. You can reach out to my office to sign up if you would like to testify at the hearing. We're excited about this piece of legislation because not only does it narrow the pay gap, but in a time where all of us are feeling the pinch of an economy that is not working in favor for working class people, that everybody in the city of Columbus will earn more money. And that is something to be proud of. So thank you, Council President.
Good job. Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Diop-Powell.
Thank you, Council President. Since we don't have a council meeting next week, I'd like to wish an early happy birthday to the United States Navy, who turned 250 years old next week. That's all for me.
That's cool. Happy birthday. Councilmember Green.
Thank you so much, Council President. Tonight, I just have two quick announcements. First, we are very excited to invite all of the members of our community to Columbus Public Health for their Halloween Haunt on Parsons. It is an incredibly fun afternoon. It's taking place this Saturday, October 8th, or not this Saturday, but Saturday, October 18th, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at CPH, which is located at 240 Parsons Avenue. You can see a flyer there on the screen. There's lots of different activities for families, including trick-or-treating, face painting, pick your own pumpkin, pedestrian safety tips for Halloween trick-or-treating, which I never really thought about until I had a toddler of my own who was just excited to go from house to house, and it is very important. So costume drive and yard games, and we welcome everyone to play, to wear costumes if they would like to, but if you do not have one yet, there's also a costume drive where you can pick one up. And so then after that, I just want to say a quick congratulations to our Hilltop USA softball team, who in the greatest upset in Franklinton v. Hilltop charity softball game history, took the trophy back home to the Hill where it belongs this weekend during our 5th annual event. And so we will see everyone back again next fall. And that is all for me.
Thank you, Councilmember. Champions. Councilmember Remy. Councilmember White.
Thank you, Council President. At this time, I'd like to invite the Division of Water Reclamation Administrator, Rob Priestus, and the Biosolids team to the podium. As they come forward, I'd like to introduce Resolution 221X-2025 to celebrate the achievement of Columbus Water and Power for being recognized as a utility the future today. Columbus Water and Power was recently recognized by the Water Environment Federation as an honoree of the Utility of the Future Today program. Through this program, the Water Environment Federation wishes to recognize water utilities in our nation who proactively establish resilient, sustainable, and livable communities. Columbus Water and Power Division of Water Reclamation received the special recognition for their biosolids reuse program, which takes treated wastewater solids, yard debris, and wood chips and transforms it into a nutrient-rich Class A compost through a natural process. So to my colleague, these bags on the table are compost, not coffee or tea. Do not drink it. Being recognized as the utility of the future today is a massive accomplishment and one in which we should all take the time to recognize and celebrate. So just take a brief moment to just applaud this team and the amazing work that they're doing. Administrator, thank you for being here. The floor is yours if you'd like to share a few words and introduce your team as well.
Thank you so much, Utility Chair Weish, President Harden, and members of council. On behalf of our entire division, especially the staff at our compost facility, we thank you for this recognition. We're proud to be of only one of 41 utilities in the nation recognized for this honor, and the only utility in Ohio to receive this recognition. Our recognition as Utility Future demonstrates a commitment of our team to push the envelope in resource recovery, which also continues to advance Columbus' sustainable and livable community. Our facility has a long history of award-winning performance with 9 years of 100% beneficial reuse of our biosolids product. And we appreciate the support of City Council and continue that tradition. To accept this honor with me tonight, I have my Assistant Administrator, Stacia Eckenweiler, Residuals Manager, Josh Lutz, and Biosolid Specialist, Mossberry. But I'd really like to thank the folks that couldn't be here today and that entire staff at the compost facility that really made this achievement possible. Again, a small token of our appreciation with the ComTill samples, and we would extend the invitation to the entire council to come out and tour our compost facility. We'd love to have you out there. But we really do appreciate the recognition and honor tonight.
It doesn't fall on me that you said a recognition, appreciation, and it's a bag of compost. But okay, I see where we're at there. No, I appreciate it. Especially as a gardener, I'm excited. So if none of you want it, please give it to me. I'm bringing it to my house. First, let me see if my colleagues have any questions, comments.
It is awesome.
And then Director, this is your team, so I want to give you the chance.
Thank you, Councilmember Weish and Council President Harden and members of council. I just want to thank the team and express my pride in the work that they do every day for the city of Columbus. And, they're making our soil healthier, they're making our environment better, and they just are amazing. It's an amazing team to have and to work with every day. So thank you to them.
Yeah, this innovative reuse program shows how your team goes above and beyond the call of duty to come up with new ways to reduce waste, protect our environment, and grow in a responsible way. Want to extend my gratitude to the entire team, even those who are not here today. And if there are no further comments or questions from my colleagues, I move for adoption.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer Green, Remy Weish, President Harden.
Adopted. Thank you, Councilmember. I have one announcement and then I have one resolution. Just wanted to take a moment to remember and honor the life of Miss Ann B. Walker. She passed yesterday at the remarkable age of 101, just 3 weeks shy of her 102nd birthday. Mrs. Walker was a true giant here in Columbus. Many folks call her the Queen Mother. She's been a fighter for justice who blazed a trail for women and for African Americans in our city and beyond. She was born here in Columbus and graduated from East High School before earning a tennis scholarship and going on to receive her bachelor's degree from George Williams College. She was also a proud member of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, embodying the values of scholarship and service that guided her. She broke barriers through her career. She served as an on-air talent and later as a producer at NBC4, becoming the first woman in broadcast management at that station. She was the first woman and the first African-American journalist to report from the Ohio State House. And she was the first woman and African-American to report here at City Hall. Her leadership and her talent took her all the way to the White House, where she worked in the public affairs office under Jimmy Carter. Along the way, she received some of the highest honors from the Ohio's Women's Hall of Fame, the Columbus Hall of Fame, from the President Carter himself, and even from the King of Ghana. Mrs. Walker opened doors for generations of journalists and broadcasters. Everywhere she went, she brought wisdom, kindness, and light, reminding us that barriers are meant to be broken. So today we say thank you to our Queen Mother. Her legacy lives on in our city. She is loved, and we are grateful. So many of us stand on her shoulders. Can we have a moment of silence for the Queen Mother? Thank you. Next, I have Resolution 0224X-125. I'd like to invite Ms. Erica Clark-Jones with item H to come forward. We are so excited. My resolution is to endorse the passage of a $3.35 million renewal and increased levy for the Adam H. Board of Franklin County. On the ballot this November 4th is a funding measure to Adam H. to continue to provide services to those suffering from mental health or substance abuse. Adam H. partners with over 50 community-based nonprofit agencies to provide mental health and substance abuse treatment services. This includes the 988 Mental Health Crisis Hotline, mobile crisis units, and the newly constructed Franklin County Crisis Care Center. Erica, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your leadership at this critical time. And do you want to tell us more about just the critical services that Adam H. Provides to our city, to our region?
Absolutely. Thank you, Council President Hardin, and I'm acknowledging President Pro Tem Rob Dorans and all of the august members of council. It's great to be with you tonight. Thank you for inviting us here and for your support. As mentioned, my name is Erica Clark-Jones. I serve as the CEO of the Alcohol, Drug, and Mental Health Board of Franklin County, or your Adam H., and I'm joined by our Senior Director of Government Affairs, Ms. Monica Sarazuela. And we thank you for your partnership. I particularly want to thank you for support of tonight's resolution in support of Issue 1. I know we talked about the other issues. I'd also like to add Issue 1 to that. Because it is the Adam H. levy that Franklin County voters will consider this general election season, beginning as early as tomorrow morning through November 4th. Adam H. is a levy agency that funds mental health and addiction services through a network of more than 50 nonprofit agencies located in neighborhoods throughout the Columbus community and across Franklin County. Our investments serve as the behavioral health safety net for the community, ensuring vital services are accessible to every Franklin County resident, regardless of insurance status or ability to pay. While most Adam H. funded services support people who are uninsured or underinsured, our investments in crisis and prevention services reach an even broader portion of this community. Adam H. funded crisis services are available to every Franklin County resident. Adam H. funded prevention services are provided in all 16 public school districts in Franklin County. Issue 1, the issue before the voters this election season, is a 10-year property tax levy consisting of a renewal of the existing levy, which has been in place since 1970. So a renewal of the existing levy with a modest 0.5 mil increase. The increased millage amount is modest as a portion of the collected property tax in Franklin County, yet the impact is so great. The recommended levy increase amounts to $1.46 per month increase for each $100,000 of home valuation, which roughly equates to the cost of a candy bar. This proposed levy renewal with the modest increase balances the need to sustain our existing services with the least amount of burden to taxpayers. It will also provide a stable funding base to deliver on the promise of the Franklin County Crisis Care Center that we made to voters in 2020, ensuring that the center is a resource for all adults experiencing a mental health or addiction-related crisis. Together, with each of you and the City of Columbus, you all walked alongside us every step of the way, and I'm pleased to share that the Crisis Center is already being utilized since its doors opened just over a month ago on September 2nd. I've brought a few points of data for you to consider tonight. In the first 4 weeks of operation, so it opened September 2nd, today is October 6th, in the first 4 weeks of operation, the center has welcomed nearly 450 individuals. Of these, 60% of the individuals were brought in by first responders, including EMS and police. That's 270 people who did not present in an emergency room or jail because of their mental illness or their addiction crisis. And 65% of the people that were discharged, of the individuals that were discharged, were connected to community-based services for treatment and recovery. That's how this safety net system works. If this levy passes, or if this levy is supported by Franklin County voters, it will enable us to continue to deliver high-quality, accessible care to those who need it most, and allow for the Crisis Center to become fully operational. Without the passage of this levy, we are facing a 70% reduction in services across our community. That's 70. So, both Monica and I thank you, Council President Hardin, and each member of the Columbus City Council for recognizing that support for Issue 1 and this levy is a foundational investment in our community's social safety net. It provides tangible value to public safety, to hospitals, schools, and social service system partners. And most importantly, it profoundly helps families. Issue 1 ensures that individuals with behavioral health challenges receive the most appropriate care and are stabilized in the community, and ultimately live more productive and healthier lives. Thank you, and Monica and I are happy to answer any questions at this time.
Erica, thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Monica, for being here. Thank you more so for the work that you do and to the continuum that you support. Are there any questions or comments? I mean, I think that 70% reduction is not something that we should gloss over when we are seeing more need than ever, and for good or for bad, seeing a retrenchment from the federal government in some spaces.
That's right.
That you all are there to serve our community. So just want to acknowledge that 70% reduction if we are not able to get this thing done, but I'm confident we will. Are there any questions or comments from my colleagues? Hearing none, is there a motion to adopt? Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer Green, Remy Weiss, President Harden.
Adopted.
Thank you, sir.
Are there any questions from our elected officials' offices? Hearing none. Are there any requests by members of council for the removal of an ordinance or resolution from the consent portion of the agenda? Hearing none, may we now have a motion to waive the reading of titles of third-day legislation by the city clerk? Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer Green, Remy Weiss, President Harden.
Thank you. Will the clerk now read into the record the number of ordinance and 30-day legislation for tonight's reading on first agenda?
In Finance and Governance Committee, we have ordinance 2552-2025. Public Utilities and Sustainability Committee, ordinances 2214, 2456, 2459, 2460, 2465, 2477, 2537, 2545, and 2546-2025. Housing, Homelessness, and Building Committee, ordinances 2399 and 2539-2025.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Seeing no speakers on the first reading portion of the agenda, the following ordinances appear on our agenda as consent action. Will the clerk now read those into the record?
Resolutions of expression, 212X, 215X, 216X, 217X, 218X, 219X, and 220X-2025. Finance and Governance Committee, ordinances 1466, 2397, and 2433-2025. Economic Development and Small and Minority Business Committee, ordinance 2461-2025. Public Service and Transportation Committee, ordinances 2438, 2467, 2470, 2478, and 2480-2025. Neighborhoods, Recreation, and Parks Committee, ordinances 2389 and 2412-2025. Workforce, Education, and Labor Committee, ordinance 2498-2025. Health, Human Services, and Equity Committee, ordinance 2654-2025. Public Safety and Criminal Justice Committee, ordinances 2225 and 2309-2025. Public Utilities and Sustainability Committee, ordinances 2359, 2361, 2365, 2368, 2369, 2406, 2491, 2530, 2534, and 2551-2025. Housing, Homelessness, and Building Committee, ordinances 2502, 2519, 2520, 2637-2025. Appointments from the mayor, A 137-2025.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Are there any questions or comments on the consent portion of the agenda? I would actually acknowledge an ordinance on the agenda for $50,000 for Kaleidoscope Youth Center. Just thank you to my colleagues for putting that forward. Folks saw in the news over the last couple of weeks that they have lost a state grant and will need to relocate 10 young people without those resources. So these dollars will help in those services. But I just want to thank the colleagues for coming together for their leadership to get this done. Seeing no further questions or comments on the consent portion of the agenda, is there a motion to approve by voice? Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston. Yes. Barosa de Padilla. Yes. Dayakauer. Yes. Green.
Yes, with the exception of ordinance 2502-2025, of which I abstain.
Remy. Yes. White. Yes. President Harden.
Yes, the consent agenda is passed with the noted exceptions. We'll now proceed with the second reading of the 30-day postponed and emergency legislation. The first committee to come before council is the Economic Development and Small Minority Business Committee. That committee is chaired by Councilmember Bankston. Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Council President. First in Economic Development, Small Minority Business Committee, we have ordinance 2576-2025 to authorize the Director of Department of Development to enter into a grant agreement with the Community Partners Youth Development Organization, Inc., an Ohio nonprofit corporation in an amount up to $1 million for construction expenses at 1878 through 1890 East Main Street, to authorize the appropriation of funds within the income set aside subfund and the development taxable bond funds, to authorize the transfer of cash between the income tax set aside subfund and the development taxable bond fund, to authorize the expenditure within the development taxable bond fund in an amount up to $1 million to allow for payment of grant funds on a predetermined schedule, to allow reimbursement of expenses incurred prior to the creation of the purchase order, and to declare an emergency. This ordinance provides $1 million capital contribution grant to Community Partners Youth Development Organization, Inc., doing business as, and more commonly referred to as, the Columbus Center of Entrepreneurial Development, or COED. For those who are not familiar, COED is a 4-story business accelerator, co-working space, marketplace, and resource hub serving our city's small business community. This community asset has undergone a series of improvements to better serve the community, and this capital grant will go towards the continuation of that work. Some of the work covered by the grant includes the installation of a fire suspension system, expansion of the first floor, and the construction of a fire escape. And just really excited about this particular ordinance and all the work that is happening at COED. I want to give a shout out to Derek Cornell and his team. If you have seen or been over there, just the organic nature, the grassroots effort that have gone into that place. And so for us as a community to come alongside him really was a no-brainer for us. They continue to pour into small businesses all across this community. And so I just wanted to thank him for his work, as well as Kim Knights and other folks that are over there at COED. Any questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer Green, Remy Weiss, President Harden.
Pass.
Thank you, Council President. So I have in my committees this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Next committee to come before council is the Public Service and Transportation Committee, chaired by Councilmember Rosa de Padilla. Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Council President. I have 3 ordinances today in public service and transportation. The first is 2140, 2025, to authorize the Director of the Department of Public Service or designee to enter into contract with GMG Capital Incorporated, doing business as Alexander Hauling, for the provision of snow removal and de-icing services this winter, to waive the competitive bidding requirements of the Columbus City Codes, to authorize the expenditure of $144,000 from the Street Construction Management and Repair Fund for that purpose, and to declare an emergency. The Department of Public Service administers a variety of municipal services within the city of Columbus necessary to public health and safety, including snow removal and de-icing during inclement weather. With more than 90,000 lane miles, keep that in mind, of roadways to service each winter, the Department of Public Service seeks the assistance of other jurisdictions and independent contractors to supplement city crews on local roadways. This ordinance authorizes a contract with Alexander Hauling to provide 4 trucks and drivers to clear snow and de-ice roads during heavy snowfall this coming winter, to assist in snow and ice removal operations on an all-call basis. So essentially, this is we're identifying this as money that we're setting aside in the case that we do need it, which is crazy when we have 90-degree weather in October. So, do my colleagues have any questions or comments? Great, seeing none, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer Green, Remy Weiss, President Harden.
Passed.
Great, and so my next 2 ordinances I'm excited about, because anytime that we are putting in more sidewalks, shared use paths, putting in safety features on our roadways, and using the multiple strategies that we have at hand is always something that we should pause and celebrate, because this is what our residents want more of, and it quite literally saves lives. So the first ordinance is 2215, 2025, to appropriate funds within the Street and Highway Bond or Highway Improvement Fund to authorize the Director of the Department of Public Service to enter into contract with Compass Infrastructure Group, LLC, for the intersection Bryce Road and Shannon Road project, to authorize the expenditure of $500,000 from the Street and Highway Improvement Fund. The Bryce Road Shannon Road project includes installing a single-lane roundabout at the intersection just southeast of Bryce Road, a shared-use path along the north side of Shannon Road, and a sidewalk along the east side of Bryce Road. This project will also include street lighting along the north side of Shannon Road for the length of the proposed shared-use path and for the limits of the roundabout. The roundabout, shared-use path, and sidewalk all speak to slowing down traffic. And this is part of a larger development that will soon be coming to the area. So I want to turn it over to the director for just a second, because when we talk about the different strategies that we have to backfill our sidewalks, to ensure that our streets are safer, to reconstructing our streets, we just had a Complete Streets hearing where we talked about all of the policies and the opportunities that we have to keep people safe. This is just one of those strategies. So Director, can you tell us a little bit more about the project?
Okay. Good evening, President Harden, Chair Barosa de Padilla, members of council. This project is down in the southeastern portion of Columbus, and as you indicated, it is a part of a much larger housing development that's being built. We have quite a lot of housing being built near Gender Road and Bryce and Shannon and that whole quadrant of the city down there. Today, it looks like a bunch of cornfields and hayfields, but it is actually going to be housing over the next 5 years. So we need to make sure that our infrastructure supports the housing, and this project is to do that. As you said, you know, with the Complete Streets policy, new infrastructure rebuild, make sure that we are building a complete street that includes, you know, biking and walking and pedestrian travel as well as just getting the cars around.
Thank you. And also that the developer is part of making this happen, I think is also important to note, because I think as we also talk about, I mean, many times when we have big developments going in, this is a major concern of residents, is as we increase traffic, the traffic flow, right, as we are turning these roads that may not have as many users on them. How are we making them safe? This is one way that we are doing that, right, by working with our partners.
Yes, that is correct. This contract is being paid for with developer contributions.
Yeah. So this is just another way that, again, as our residents that are watching, when you're thinking about the development that is coming, it's also bringing in other things. It's not just bringing in new friends and new residents and neighbors, but it also is ensuring that you have some of the things that you want to see in your neighborhood that will keep you and your loved ones safe. So thank you, Director. Do my colleagues have any additional questions or comments? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, De Akauer, Green, Remy Weiss, President Harden.
Pass.
Next, we have ordinance 2228, 2025, to authorize the City Attorney's Office Real Estate Division to contract for professional services relative to the acquisition of fee simple title and lesser interest in and to property needed for the Bikeway Development Tussing Road Shared Use Path Bryce Road to Hines Road project, to authorize the City Attorney's Office Real Estate Division to negotiate with property owners to acquire the additional rights of way necessary to complete this project, to authorize the expenditure of $1,300,000 from the Streets and Highways Bond Fund. This intersection has been listed on our high injury network, so this is, folks can see this online. We know where we have problematic intersections, and this is one way that we're starting to tackle those problematic intersections. So between 2019 and 2023, there have been over 20 recorded crashes along Tussing Road, including at least 10 crashes involving pedestrians, 3 involving bikes, and 1 involving a motorcycle. This project consists of installing a new shared use path along the south side of Tussing Road from Bryce Road to Hines Road, so the far east just north of Bryce, totaling 1.6 miles of a shared use path. A shared use path is a larger, wider path where if you're biking, rolling, or walking, you actually have enough room to do that, so it's bigger than a sidewalk. In addition to the shared use path, the project will install curb ramps, drive aprons, curb, gutter, and storm sewer as needed. Enhanced pedestrian crossings will be provided at Americana Parkway at the Tussing Elementary School. This legislation authorizes the city attorney to hire professionals to acquire the right-of-way needed to complete the project. What's also, I'm going to kick it over to the director in just a second. This is also one of these tricky areas that this is part of our jurisdiction, along with the jurisdiction of a neighboring, of another, I believe it's a Fairfield County, that we are partnering with on this project. So helping also some of our partners who, making our roadways safer so that as our residents are driving along our roadways, they're having that continuous safety both in our municipality but also in our neighboring municipalities. Director, is there anything you want to add?
Good evening again. Yes, this is a 1.5-mile project, so a pretty substantial project that's going to connect to the commercial district along Bryce Road, all those neighborhoods that are located along Tussing Road, including Tussing Elementary School.
And I just want to commend the department because part of being able to secure the funds for this, so all of our roadway projects are incredibly expensive, but being able to secure the funds were that we were able to actually work with the municipality to make the project bigger. That actually gave us more funding so that we could expand this to make it even safer, correct?
That's correct.
Thank you. Do my colleagues have any additional questions or comments? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, De Akauer, Green, Remy Weiss, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you, Council President. That's all I have this evening.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Next committee coming before council is the Neighborhood Recreation and Parks Committee, chaired by Councilmember De Akauer. Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Council President. Our first ordinance this evening is 2388-2025 to authorize the Director of Recreation and Parks Department to modify an existing contract with Smoot Construction Company of Ohio for the Hoover Amenities Project, to authorize an amendment to the 2025 capital improvement budget, to authorize a transfer of cash and appropriation within the Waterbund Fund, and to authorize the expenditure of $2,137,754.93 from the Recreation and Parks Grant Fund and the Water Bond Fund, and to declare an emergency. The Hoover Amenities Project refers to 2 ongoing improvement projects at the reservoir. The boat launch ramp near the intersection of Sunbury Road and Walnut Street is an existing feature that will require demolition and removal. The Mud Flats Boardwalk, located at the north end of the reservoir, was demolished last year during the low water level season. The Recreation Parks Department is receiving a grant of $1.5 million from the Ohio Department of Natural Resources that will go toward the boat ramp removal and reconstruction as an ADA-compliant amenity. The Columbus Department of Water and Power is contributing up to $950,000 in funds for shoreline stabilization and parking lot repaving at the boat ramp. These projects will provide additional opportunities to experience the reservoir and will also promote improved participation accessibility. The original completion date of the project was April 17th of 2025. The modified project completion date as a result of the proposed modification is June 13th, 2026. Emergency action is requested so that work can be completed during the low water season of September 2025 through April 2026. Are there any questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer, Green, Remy Weiss, President Harden.
Thank you. Next, we have 2391-2025 to authorize the Director of the Recreation Parks Department to enter into contract with Ironsight Incorporated for the Three Creeks Wetland Restoration Project, to authorize the appropriation of $107,500 within the Recreation Parks Permanent Improvement Fund, to authorize the transfer of $107,500 within the Recreation Parks Permanent Improvement Fund, to authorize the amendment of the 2025 capital improvement budget, to authorize the expenditure of $957,500 from the Recreation Parks Grant Fund and Permanent Improvement Fund, and to declare an emergency. Three Creeks Park is a 1,097-acre park in the far south community and is jointly managed by the City of Columbus and Franklin County Metro Parks. This project will create a 24-acre wetland within a 30-acre restored area of the park, north of Watkins Road and to the east of Alum Creek Trail. This will involve constructing the wetland, landscaping, and sewer work. This project will improve water quality, flood control, and wildlife habitat. It will also support the urban forestry master plan goals and provide additional recreation opportunities through a natural walking path in the wetlands. The Recreation and Parks Department received $850,000 in grant funding from the Ohio Department of Natural Resources H2 Ohio program to fund a wetland restoration. Construction is anticipated to start October of this year and be substantially completed in spring 2026, and all punch list items are to be complete by summer 2026. Recreation Parks engaged the Far South Area Commission and the Williams Creek Homeowners Association in July 2023, and both groups provided letters of support for the grant application in August 2023 and will be involved in the design of the project. This project is important because it highlights that Recreation Parks is not just about building parks. They are leading our region in conservation efforts and are constantly prioritizing the preservation of tree canopies and natural habitats. This is vital in a city growing as rapidly as our own, as it ensures we are growing responsibly, staying aware of our environmental footprint, and prioritizing tree preservation to reduce urban heating and improve residents' well-being. Are there any questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer, Green, Remy Weiss, President Harden.
And next up, we have 2394-2025 to authorize and direct the Director of Recreation Parks to enter into contract with Franklin Park Conservatory for the administration and implementation of the Franklin Park Master Plan and related capital improvement projects in the amount of $2 million, to authorize the transfer of $2 million between the General Fund Income Tax Set-Aside Subfund and the Recreation Parks Bond Fund, to authorize the appropriation of $2 million in the Income Tax Set-Aside Subfund and Recreation Parks Voted Bond Fund, to authorize the expenditure of $2 million from the Recreation Parks Voted Bond Fund, and to declare an emergency. The Franklin Park Conservatory recently unveiled their exciting North Star Master Plan, a 25-year plan to become a premier botanical garden destination. This master plan envisions 15 capital projects, some renovation, and some new construction. The top priority project will be the complete renovation of the Wolf Palm House into a one-of-its-kind experience aimed at providing opportunities for education, conservation, and event space rentals. Other major projects include the construction of a new Grand Mallway, a new visitor center building and restaurant, centralized underground parking, and the relocation of the park entrance from Broad Street to the intersection of Woodland and Broad. The conservatory approached the city in 2024 and in 2025, seeking capital support for the initial phases of this master plan. Given that the conservatory is a tremendous community asset to our region, and seeing investment in these projects as an opportunity to create a more attractive destination for residents and visitors by enhancing the visitor experience, the city is contributing $2 million towards the following projects: $1 million for the initial phases of the Palm House project, $500,000 for general guest experience upgrades, including improvements to the Children's Garden, and $500,000 towards major equipment replacement, repaving, furniture, and flooring upgrades or safety upgrades. The conservatory will administer these projects to allow for the least disruption of daily operations, and so these funds are to reimburse for expenditures in conjunction with master plan implementation projects. Any questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer, Green, Remy Weiss, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you, Council President. That's all from me this evening.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Next committee to come before council is the Public Safety and Criminal Justice Committee, chaired by Councilman Remy. Councilman, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Council President. Tonight I have one ordinance in Public Safety and Criminal Justice. It's 2540-2025 to authorize the Director of Public Safety to enter into contract with UKG Kronos Systems, LLC, for the Division of Fire for UKG's Telestaff Cloud subscription services to waive the competitive bidding provisions of the Columbus City Code, to authorize the contract as multi-year and renewable, to authorize the expenditure of $172,800 for year one from the general fund, and to declare an emergency. The UKG Telestaff platform is essential for managing the division's complex staffing assignments, ensuring accuracy, transparency, and operational efficiency across shifts and emergency responses. UKG Kronos Systems is the sole proprietary provider of this specialized software. No other vendor can deliver or service this customized platform. The proposed contract will be established for a 3-year term with the option for 2 additional 1-year renewals and subsequent annual renewals thereafter by mutual agreement and approval of City Council. The year one cost is $172,800 with a 4% year-over-year increase negotiated for the initial 5-year term. Are there any questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer, Green, Remy Weiss, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you very much, Council President. That is all I have this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And the final committee to come before council is the Public Utilities and Sustainability Committee. That is chaired by Councilmember Weiss. Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Council President. Tonight I have 2529-2025 to authorize the Director of Public Utilities to enter into a contract renewal with Fullport Incorporated Geographic Information Systems, or GIS, professional services to authorize the expenditure of $150,000 split between the electricity, water, sanitary sewer, and stormwater operating funds, and to waive the competitive bidding provisions of Columbus City Code. This legislation authorizes a 1-year renewal, allowing the Woolport consultants to continue to assist with the development of the City of Columbus's GIS system, including its associated applications and data sets. Let me stop there, see if any questions or comments from my colleagues. Seeing none, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer, Green, Remy Weiss, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you. That is all I have for my committee this evening.
Pretty impressive. Seeing no further business coming before council, I do want to shout out that there are students here from the Glenn School at the Ohio State University. You guys all wave up there in the audience. Thank you so much for being here. Our meetings are not usually this short, so come back. Seeing no further business, their motion to adjourn. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer, Green, Remy Weiss, President Harden.
Meeting is adjourned. We have.